It's Over Opinionated. Opinionated with Josh Cott.
Welcome back, everyone, to Over Opinionated. I apologize for the wait on this episode. I have been tired and sleepy, and I still am, and I should be going to bed right now. But I want to say this is the election result of 2024. Donald John Trump has been elected the 47th President of the United States of America. We can't just end on that note. That was good. But we need one more celebration. On the microphone, the President of the United States, Donald John Trump. Take it away.
Guess who's back, back again. Trump is back, tell a friend. Guess who's back, 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 guess who's back. Ding, 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 ding. Create a monster, but nobody wants to see Biden no more. They want Trump. I'm John Liver. Well, if you want Trump, this is what.
That was pretty good, Mr. President. There's this guy that puts compilations of President Trump, quote-unquote, singing songs, and he has other ones of other politicians, and it's hilarious. You should check it out. Just go to YouTube, and I'm pretty sure, I'm allowed to do that, so I know Eminem's a big Democrat, but that's parody, so you're allowed to use parody. Big thank you to that YouTuber. Also, Donald Trump, Eminem song, Guess Who's Back, clean version, Utah's #1 realtor on YouTube. So, big shout out to you. But we did it, guys. We won the presidency. Not only did we win the presidency, we also retook the Senate. We will be voting for a Senate leader pretty soon, and that's awesome, guys. We now have the White House, we now have the Senate, and we're going to have the House of Representatives as well. Very slim margin in the House, but we're going to have 53 Senate seats when it's all said and done. And Donald Trump actually outperformed a lot of the Senate candidates. He won in Arizona, and we lost the Senate race in Arizona. We lost Carrie Lake, a really bad candidate, but she did decent in the election. And we lost in Nevada, but Trump won Nevada. But we picked up West Virginia. West Virginia was a flip. We picked up Pennsylvania. And we picked up Ohio. And we picked up Montana. Flips. All flips. We held Texas. And we did good. We did good, guys. And we won the national popular vote. Donald Trump, out of this electorate, won 50.2% of the vote to Kamala Harris's 48.1%. Donald Trump has received more votes for President of the United States of America, a Republican, than any other person has ever received. He's received more popular votes than any other president that's ran as a Republican's ever received. Now, Kamala lost 20 million votes. So, Kamala lost 20 million votes that Joe Biden got in 2020. And many people would bring up, because this was in 2020, there was mass mail-in ballots. And I've been very critical of many of people in my party that said Donald Trump won in 2020. and that they cheated. I have changed my opinion a little bit because I always said no, he lost, and he lost a fair and square election. Looking at these numbers, I have to admit that Democrats 100%, I've said this before, but I didn't think it was substantial enough for them to win the White House. Now I do. 2020, they used COVID to send mass mail-in ballots. They send ballots to people, and they just voted. They might, in many cases, they probably voted twice, or a relative passed away. They weren't honest, and they were able to do this. And listen, in 2020, Georgia went by 11,000 votes. Now, there are, if you live in Southwest Virginia, like I do, there are 16,000 people that live in Giles County, where I'm originally from, where I grew up in. And there are 16,000 people in Giles County, Virginia. And he only lost Georgia by 11,000 votes. Extraordinarily close. Extraordinarily close. We ended up losing Virginia by a little more than 200,000 votes. Kamala Harris got 51.7 to Donald Trump's 46. I was thinking it'd be a little bit closer, but I want to tell you something. When it comes to Loudoun County, you compare this. So I don't have all the numbers up. I don't have the 2020 numbers up, sadly. But she got 56% of the vote to Donald Trump's 40. For Loudoun, that's pretty good. And we just have to face in Virginia, on a federal level, we're more Democrat than Republican. In a bellwether county, Montgomery County, where Virginia Tech is, Kamala Harris won barely by 1,000 votes. That's pretty good. Wythe County, Donald Trump won. Won with 79% of the votes. Tazewell County, he won with 83% of the votes. Bland County, he won with 84% of the votes. Pulaski, he won with 71%. Rafford City, Rafford City's so hard to pick up on some of these. Rafford City, Kamala won 49 to, darn it. It's so hard to pull up Rafford City because it's small, it's not a county. Rafford City, Donald Trump lost by 1/10 of a point. He lost by, oh man, super close. I'm actually going to take a picture of that. He lost by 1/10 of a point in Rafford City. Pulaski County, 71%. Carroll County, 81%. Smith County, 79.6%. Russell County, 83%. Washington County, 76%. Trying to pull up Bristol. Bristol, he won 69%. Scott County, 84%. Dickinson, 80%. Wise, 81%. Lee County, he won 85%. So, you know, he obviously carries Southwest Virginia. He always does. But, you know, we are outvoted. We're outvoted. But that's okay, because we won all the battleground states. Literally, the only one we lost was New Hampshire. That was it. We lost New Hampshire, but we won. I want to give you some election results. There's not one state that Kamala Harris did better in than Joe Biden did in 2020. Every state in the union shifted to the Republican Party. And these numbers come from a political analysis. He has a big Twitter account. His name is Christian Hines. He works for Delegate Nick Freitas in the Virginia House of Delegates. And he's very sharp, very smart guy. So if you're on Twitter or X. Go follow Christian Hines. Christian Hines. Hines is Heiens. But here's a tweet he sent, and he's very reliable. Here's the shift toward the right by states between 2020 and 2024. New York shifted 11 points to the right. New Jersey, 10 points to the right. Massachusetts, 8 points to the right. California, 8 points to the right. Texas, 8 points to the right. Mississippi, 7 points to the right. Illinois, 7 points. Maryland, 7. Rhode Island, 7. Tennessee, already deep red Tennessee, 6 points. Hawaii, 6 points. South Carolina, 6 points. Arizona, 5. Idaho, 5. Nevada, 5. Connecticut, 5. Alabama, 5. Iowa, 5. Alaska, 5. New Mexico, 4.9. Kentucky, and I haven't been doing points, but that one was really close. Kentucky, 4. Montana, 4. New Hampshire, 4. Virginia, 4.5%. Delaware, 4.2. Michigan, 4. Vermont, free. Louisiana, free. West Virginia, free. Ohio, free. North Dakota, free. Pennsylvania, free. Arkansas, free. South Dakota, free. Indiana, free. Michigan, free. Minnesota, 2.7. Wyoming, 2. Georgia, 2. Colorado, 2. Maine, 2. North Carolina, 2. Nebraska, 1. Oregon, 1. Kansas, 1. Washington, 1. Oklahoma, 1. The District of Columbia, 0.9.5. They're all Democrats in Washington, D.C. Just about. Utah, 0.32. And Washington State didn't shift any. So she did the best in Washington State. But there's no state which she did better in. There's none. She got hammered. She got killed. We won 312 electoral votes. Now those electors still have to go cast their ballots at the state capitol, and there could be a couple faithless electors that vote for somebody else. But we won Pennsylvania with 50.5% of the vote to Kamala Harris's 84.5%. We won Michigan very tightly, 49.7% to Harris's 48.3%. Wisconsin, we won 49.6% to Harris's 48.8%. So it was close. I mean, this was still a close election in the battleground states, but we won the popular vote. Donald Trump, as of right now, has 75,500,000. I'm just going to read the number like a number. 75503 free. Kamala Harris is 72 free 64894. I apologize for the dyslexia. It's hard for me to pronounce numbers. But we won the popular vote by around 3 million votes. And go into the Senate.
Let's take a quick break.
Has anybody ever told you you were over opinionated? How about this one? You can talk about everything you like, but don't talk about religion, don't talk about faith, don't talk about politics. My name is Darrell McClain, host of Darrell McClain's Show, and I want to introduce you to a show called Over Opinionated with my friend from Southwest Virginia, Josh Scott. Josh has always been told he has been over-opinionated. He always tried to hold back these opinions, but he tried to back them up when he had to say something with facts and logic. Since he's grown up in many ways, he had to change a lot of his views and his opinions, as a lot of people should. He's not a millionaire from Fox News or CNN. He's just a hard-working, blue-collar type of guy. Give Josh Scott a shot at Over Opinionated with Josh Scott. You can find him on patreon.com/overopinionated at 679. You can also check him out on Twitter at NRV_guy79. Over Opinionated with Josh Scott, where he is this soft-spoken guy telling you the truth.
Pull up the Senate map here. We have 50 free senators to their 47. So that's good. So we have 50 free senators to their 47. When J.D. Vance steps down, we will have a different senator in Ohio, but we have a Republican governor in Ohio, so he will replace J.D. with another Republican. So our pickups were Pennsylvania, where Dave McCarran beat Bob Casey, which was an incumbent. He beat him very narrowly, 48.9% to his 48.5%. We picked up Ohio with Bernie Monero, a immigrant from Colombia, with 50.2% of the vote to 46.4%, and he beat a very long incumbent that's been in Congress a long time, Sherrod Brown, so a good win. We picked up West Virginia seat when the former Democrat did not run for re-election. But Jim Justice, the governor, won 68.9% to Glenn Elliott, the Democrat, 27.6%. West Virginia is now a deep, deep red state. All of West Virginia is entirely in Appalachia. It's the only state that's entirely in Appalachia, so it went from being a very hardcore Union Democrat state to being a very hardcore Republican state. Montana, Tom Sheffy defeats John Tesler, the Democratic incumbent, 52.8% to 45%. And then we have, now we sadly did not win Arizona. The Democrat Ruben Galero won with 50% of the vote, beating Kerry Lake's 47.8%. And then in Nevada, we didn't win. The incumbent Jackie Rosen won 47.8% to 46.3% versus Sammy Brown, the Republican challenger. So you go to the House of Representatives. We'll pull up the House real quick. Republicans are sitting at 218, which is what we needed to. We flipped 7 seats. The Democrats flipped 6 seats. They have 207. There's a couple races they're not calling. And Trump has appointed a New York Congress lady, Stephanie, forgive me, I'm awful at names. But if you're a Republican, you know who she is. She'll be the UN ambassador to the United States, and he appointed someone from Florida. But these districts are deep red, so it won't make too much of a difference in the balance of power. Now, I just want to say, last week was a resounding victory for the Republican Party and Donald Trump. Now, it was an outstanding victory in the Electoral College, and it was a pretty good victory in the popular vote. Now, the House is pretty darn close. The Senate, we have 53 senators. So, and the thing that scares me is to get over the filibuster, you need 60 votes. So we're still going to have to compromise. And there are some rhinos in the Senate. Murkowski and Susan Collins, Mitt Romney, that may not vote with us all the time. So we still have the Senate, that's still good, but it's just not easy coming. So why did Trump win? Well, I think it's obvious. The American people rejected what the mainstream media has been trying to get them to believe for a long time. That's simply it. They rejected the Democratic plan, and for the future, they know that things are not going well. They know things are too expensive, and they know things were better under President Trump. And you can cry about the quote-unquote insurrection, and we've discussed this on this show. It was not an insurrection. It was a riot. Well, it was a protest that got out of hand and turned into a riot where they were trying to get government officials to not certify the election, which is wrong, but not an insurrection. Donald Trump never called for them to trespass inside the Capitol. He told them to peacefully go and protest, and a few rebel rousels broke into the Capitol, and it was wrong. But you ran on that Donald Trump's evil insurrectionists that tried to overthrow American democracy, and America didn't buy it. And now you're afraid the American democracy is dying because Americans voted for a candidate you didn't like. American democracy doesn't only work when your person wins. American democracy works when there's a legitimate election and the people have spoken. And American democracy worked last Tuesday night. We elected Donald Trump to be our new president. We elected a new Republican Senate, and we elected to keep the House Republican. Now, this is my charge to Republicans. You now have a verdict to lead. In 2016, it was a little bit different. We won the election, but we didn't win the popular vote. And I understand, I'm all for the Electoral College. I support it. But if you don't have the popular vote, you don't have as big of a mandate to lead. We now have a mandate to lead. People are telling us that they want the Republican Party to lead. They gave us the presidency, they gave us the House, and they gave us the Senate. The lies about abortion, the lies about the quote-unquote insurrection, the lies of calling Donald Trump a fascist and calling him Hitler did not work. The American people saw through the media lies, and we rejected it, and we rejected it loudly. Now, this is what I'm telling Republicans right now. I'm happy we won. Now it's time to lead. On day one, we need to start passing legislation, and we need to start building the border wall. We have to build the border wall. I don't care how much it costs. We have to build the wall because the American people have gave us a verdict. Lead. We have to lead. We can't just be the party that's not crazy. We have to be the party that leads. We have to be the party that does things and doesn't just stop stupid things. So I have two big tasks here. How are we going to re-energize the economy to help Americans? And how quick do we get the border wall up? And I want it up all the way across Mexico. And we got to start the mass deportation. You ran on it since 2016. And we got to send them back. That sounds harsh. That sounds mean. But listen. If you come to this country illegally, you have no right to be here. I don't hate you, but you have no right to be here. And when you're working under the table, and you're putting more of a burden on the taxpayers. Okay? Now, do I think we can get all the illegal aliens out of America? No, there's 11 million of them. But if you've had any criminal record or any of this, mass deportation starts now. And Trump is putting together his cabinet, and the guy he has made his border czar is a lot better than Kamala Harris is. He's all for mass deportation, thankfully. This is a clip from Tom Homan on 60 Minutes, and this will be the new border czar. And, man, he is tough on the border, and I like it. Let's hear it.
Mass deportation is racist. It's threatening to the immigrant community. It's not threatening to the immigrant community. It should be threatening to the illegal immigrant community. But on the heels of a historic illegal immigration crisis, that has to be done.
What would the largest deportation in American history look like to you?
Well, let me tell you what's not going to be first. It's not going to be a mass sweep of neighborhoods. It's not going to be building concentration camps. I've read it all. It's ridiculous.
But if mass deportation is not going to be, as you said, massive sweeps and concentration
There'll be
camps.
concentrated.
What is it?
There'll be targeted arrest.
Is that what American taxpayers should expect?
What price do you put on national security? Is that worth it?
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there is. Families can be deported together.
Some civil rights groups.
And that's exactly right. If you come to our country illegally, you should be deported. And I'm not saying I don't have a heart for these children. It's not their fault. But why are we supposed to take in everybody? We can't. We can't take in everybody. I'm sorry. And you can recite a poem about the Statue of Liberty all you want to. Give us your broken, give us your tired. And I agree with that. You have to come in the right way. We have to protect our own citizens. We have to. Yeah. Well, you would have deported Jesus. No, there's a difference between a refugee and an illegal immigrant. There is. I'm just so sick and tired of it. So sick and tired of it. We have a nation, and we must defend that nation, and that starts at our borders. If we can't protect our borders, what kind of nation are we? Nations that don't protect their borders don't stay nations long. We need a complete, continuous wall with exceptions of some natural barriers. We need that. We need a complete, continuous wall to keep out illegal immigrants, to keep out drugs, to keep out a lot of these things that's happening. We have to have that. And the American people gave us a mandate. You must lead. We gave you the popular vote. We gave you the Senate. We gave you the House. Lead. Take charge. Another big thing that I'm really excited about is Trump wanting to cut a lot of bureaucracy, and I'm all for it. Slash it. Slash that hog to pieces. Okay? Slash that these ridiculous bureaucratic state that is destroying our taxpayer money. Slash it. I feel like Ron Swanson. Slash it. I mean that. Get rid of it. Now, I'm not an anarchist. I'm not saying we don't have any of these institutions. We have to. But so much of the bureaucracy is polluted. He's actually starting the Department of Government Sufficiency, and it's going to be headed by Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. Great. That's awesome. I mean, that's awesome. I agree with that 100%. Slash the crap out of the bureaucracy. Gut it to the very core. Fire these people that have been working in D.C. their entire lives. Do it. So we have a good cabinet coming up. Marco Rubio is more than likely going to be our Secretary of State. Marco Rubio is very good. Countries are getting ready right now. The countries are getting ready right now to prepare for a Donald Trump presidency. So Qatar, an Arab nation, or Qatar, was trying to negotiate some with Israel and Hamas, and has allowed some Hamas terrorists to take refuge. Upon hearing that Donald Trump is going to be president again, Qatar has told the Hamas that they have to go. They have to go back. They have to leave. Why? Because you don't mess with the United States of America or her allies. And we get peace through strength, not peace through weakness. Not like Biden. We don't surrender an entire country like Afghanistan to a bunch of barbarians, terrorists called the Taliban. That's what Joe Biden did. He made this world a much unsafer place, a much more hostile place. When he surrendered Afghanistan to the Taliban, he invited Vladimir Putin. Come on, Putin, go ahead and invade Ukraine. We're not going to do anything. We'll give him billions and billions of dollars, but we're not going to stop. Go ahead. We're weak. It tells China, go ahead, take over Taiwan. We're weak. Go ahead, Hamas. Attack Israel. We're weak. And I've been critical of Israel and how they've handled the war. But we get peace through strength. We were working toward peace with Donald Trump, with the Abraham Accords. We were working for peace. Not one time did Vladimir Putin invade somewhere under Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump did make a mistake pulling out of Syria, a skeleton force in Syria that allowed the Turkish to crush the Kurds. That was his biggest diplomatic mistake. But we have peace through strength. And why? Because countries know that they don't understand Donald Trump. They don't know if Donald Trump's going to hit them super hard with a bomb or if he's going to send them a peace deal. And that makes them cautious. You never know what Donald Trump's going to do on foreign policy. Is he going to hit you or is he going to offer a olive branch? This is how we make the world more peaceful, is with a strong, robust United States military. I'm not talking about endless wars. I'm not talking about invading endless countries in the Middle East, like Iraq. I'm not saying that. And no disrespect to any of our Iraqi veterans, I'm not saying that at all. But peace through strength is the only way to go, because peace through weakness opens up a vacuum that our enemies will take and make this world a worse place. If the United States recedes from the world, that doesn't mean that it's going to allow all these smaller countries to do what they want and it's going to be no, China moves in, Russia moves in. There in politics, there is no neutrality. There's no moral neutrality. You're either on this side or you're either on that side. That's how politics works. Because when you choose neutrality, there is a vacuum that will be filled by someone, and it won't be with conservative ideas. So we must fight. We must fight for every inch. We must cut down the bureaucracy. We must put up the wall. We must make this economy better. We must make America great again. And the United States people, the people of the United States voted to make America great again. They voted to give us a Republican Senate and a Republican House. And we must and we will lead. No more failed Democratic leadership in Washington. The buck must stop here. We must go forward. We must have a new day. Donald Trump is appointing Bobby Kennedy with the health services, the health department. And I'm so glad Bobby says he wants to fire a ton of people. Good. Fire all the worthless craps sucking on the tit of the taxpayers. Fire them all. Fire them all. Fire all the worthless employees. If they're doing something, if they're contributing, if they're good, okay. But if you're taking our money, you better be working for us. This is not a Walmart job. And I'm not talking about people that work at Walmart. This is not a housekeeper job. I'm a housekeeper. You're not working for a private company, okay? You're working for the American people. It's time. It's long past time. And if Donald Trump doesn't do this, if he fails to get this done, we don't deserve the lead. We don't deserve the lead. I'm not saying the Democrats do either. They don't either. If we cannot lead right now with a clear verdict of the American people, we don't deserve the lead. But you know what? I think we're going to do it. Donald Trump's learned from his mistakes. He was a great president the first time, but he's learned from his mistakes. He's got better people in his cabinet now. And we will go forward and we will protect our southern border. We have to. We will make this economy better. And we have to. And we will gut the bureaucracy. The worthless, slimy, swamp-driven crap hole of the administrative state. We will gut it. Gut it. Oh. But I am thankful. One thing I'm gonna say one thing about I am going to say one thing that I am disappointed in, and that is on abortion. There were 7 states that had it up for a constitutional amendment, and only 3 rejected it. And those 3 states were Florida. They rejected it. South Dakota banned it, and they voted not to allow it to be a constitutional amendment. And Nebraska, and big props to Nebraska. Nebraska also voted to ban abortion after the first trimester. So very good job, Nebraska. I'm glad about that. And Montana but here's some conservative states. Montana voted to make abortion a constitutional amendment. Missouri voted to make abortion a constitutional amendment. Maryland's liberal. They voted to recognize it. Colorado. And then Arizona, a toss-up state. But 61% people voted to make abortion a constitutional right. Oh man, that's concerning. So, as a pro-lifer, I am brokenhearted about that. 3 out of 7 voted to not allow abortion a constitutional right, but the rest voted to make it a state constitutional right. We have to do better on the ground. We have to spend more money. We have to pray for these people, because part of it is their heart is dark on this issue. But there will be more babies that will be saved because of the reversal of Roe v. Wade. There will be. So, but that goes to show us all the election analysis. And now let's look at some liberal tears. I'm feeling it. Let's listen to some liberal tears.
Let's be honest, it was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go, for healthcare, for our climate, for science, for journalism, for justice, for free speech. It was a terrible night for poor people, for the middle class, for seniors who rely on Social Security, for our allies in Ukraine, for NATO, for the truth and democracy and decency. And it was a terrible night for everyone who voted against him. And guess what? It was a bad night for everyone who voted for him, too. You just don't realize it.
Oh, it was a bad night for Ukraine. You just think about Ukraine. Now he knows this is crap. Oh, whatever. This is from Rachel Maddow.
Hey, you guys. We were made for this. We were made for this. This is what we trained for. Have you taken your deep breaths? Have you, in fact, hydrated? Have you had any sleep? I know you didn't. We didn't either. But, we now have got stuff to do. We really were, in some important ways, as Americans, made for this. If this was an election that was not just a choice between 2 candidates, but it was a choice between keeping the American system of government or trading it in for a strongman authoritarian system instead, then the decisive result of this election gives us not just an answer to the question as to what Americans want to do along those lines, it also gives us a really big to-do list as Americans. If you are an American citizen who does not want to ashcan the American system of government, who doesn't want a strongman authoritarian system where the whole government is one guy and everything else just exists to serve him, if that is not the kind of country that you want, then yesterday's election means you have more to do for your country than you have ever done before. Because now is when the rubber really hits the road, right? We don't just flip a switch and the American system of government is gone. Democracy is gone. It doesn't work like that. I mean, not to be boring here for a second, but just getting very real, we now are just another one in the list of countries that has decided to, hey, what the heck, let's try the strongman thing. Let's let democracy go. Let's put in an all-powerful guy.
See, that's their problem. Democracy, to them, democracy means I love democracy if my candidate wins. But if your candidate wins, then you're getting rid of democracy. Trump doesn't want to get rid of democracy, you idiot. He's saving democracy. He took a bullet for democracy. Oh my gosh. Yes, Trump is a strong guy. He presents a strong front. It's a lot better than the guy you had in the White House for the last 4 years, as y'all tried to cover up every stupid thing that he said. When he didn't even know where he was half the time. That's an improvement. But listen, if you believe that this is where democracy leads to, is authoritarianism and dictatorship and Hitler-like fascism, is democracy even worth saving? Because that's what got us there. That's what gave us this, is the people's vote. Is that worth saving? If democracy gives us Hitler, if democracy gives us fascism, is that worth saving? I mean, if my guy wins, it's democracy. If your guy wins, then it's all hell coming loose. It's doomsday. It's Armageddon. It's an end to democracy. Absurd. And she knows better. She knows better. Now, I know January 6th was horrible. I know that. I know. But on January 20th, in 2021, Trump left the office peacefully, and Biden came into office. There was a peaceful transfer of power, and in 2020, it'd be 2029, January 20th. There'll be another peaceful transfer of power, even if it's a Democrat or if it's a Republican. It will be a peaceful transfer of power. So liberal tears, I don't have time to play all of them. Al Sharpton said, well, the American electorate still has a lot of racism, still has a lot of misogyny. On Joe Scarborough, they all cried. I'm going to do a couple of TikTok meltdowns because they're just so funny. I know they're not prominent figures, but this is what they're so mad about. They're mad about the mis and disinformation. They're mad about Elon Musk letting people say what they want to on Twitter. They're mad about that. Yeah, because you no longer have a stranglehold on what people can see. That's it. That's why you're upset. You don't have a stranglehold on the media anymore, and we know what you're selling is bullcrap. We know that when Joe Scarborough goes on Morning Joe and he said, this is the best version of Joe Biden I've ever seen, we know he's full of crap because we know Biden doesn't know what day it is. Stop lying. Stop. There's an old expression, stop peeing in my Cheerios and saying it's milk. Okay? We know you're liars. At least, listen, I'm a conservative, I'm a Republican, and I'll tell you I'm a conservative, and I'll tell you I'm a Republican. When you come to this show, you're getting a Republican and conservative, populist, Christian take on the news. I would never tell you to only go to my show. You should listen to my show, then you should listen to a left-wing perspective, and then you should research it and read and come to your own conclusions. That's a big problem. I really like an app called Straight Arrow News, and they're trying really hard to just give you objective facts. One more liberal meltdown, and then we will get on the road because I am sleepy and I need to go to bed. Alright, I'm not going to do a ton of these videos because they are normal people and they're not part of the lying left-wing media like Jimmy Kimmel and Rachel Maddow and Joe Scarborough. But this one is hilarious. And here you go.
I'm sorry. No! Why? Do you really hate me that bad?
Oh, there's leftist tears are delicious. No, we don't hate you. Do you really hate me? We don't hate you. Stop believing the lies of the left-wing media. Oh my gosh. Guys, I am sleepy. God bless you all. And I will see you soon.